What's going on? So in this video, I'm going to be walking you through kind of the difference between Zapier and Make.com, which you should use and when, and which one you should really go all in on, because really you don't need both. They do the same thing for the most part. But in this video, I'm going to kind of be breaking down some of the nuances, some of the differences, and a lot of the different things that you need to know about it. But before we start with that, my name is Zach. I'm from Smooth Operator Solutions. I manage all the operations and basically everything like that for me, for our business, for our clients. That's what I'm going to be talking about here. I work in Make.com and Zapier pretty much daily. Our entire business relies on Zapier and on Make.com to basically build out all of our systems and make things streamlined and run as smoothly as possible. That's why we are the smooth operators, right? So in this video, that's kind of what I'm going to be running through. Now, let's start out really quickly with the pricing, right? All right, so Zapier and Make.com both offer a free plan. Now, the free plan is on Make.com, it's going to be 1,000 operations a month, while on Zapier, I am not even sure, it's 100 tasks a month. So you're going to hit that deadline a lot faster with Zapier, and Make.com is much more cost effective on that side, right? So the free plan here is 100 tasks a month, and you're not really going to be able to get any of the advanced Zapier stuff, so like APIs, webhooks, none of that stuff is going to be really included in here. So that's going to be one kind of downside. Make.com is going to be free and have basically all your apps and everything like that. And again, it's going to be a no-code AI workflow builder, or not necessarily AI, but no-code app builder is basically what all of these are, right? So with Make.com, you get this free. Now, when you look at the actual subscriptions here, right, your team plan is $69 a month. Somehow, based on what I'm doing, I am running up about $200 to $300 a month in Zapier. So again, for tasks in Zapier, I have the 10K plan, so it's $169 a month. I pay for 2 team members, but again, I get unlimited users on here, so it's still just $169 a month. On Make.com, the same number of tasks, which is 10,000, is going to be $16 a month. So again, Make.com costs 1/10 of what Zapier costs, right? Zapier is much more expensive. It is not as it's more user friendly, but less able to do certain tasks, right? So the cheapest plan is going to be like $20 a month for Zapier. The cheapest plan here is $9 a month. You can definitely start with that plan. There's not that much different between the core and the pro, but I would definitely recommend getting the pro. There's a few different inputs and things like that you're going to want to have there that's really going to help you out. Now, one thing that I like about Make a lot more is just the ability to do complex automations, right? So I have some pretty complicated automations that I've built in Zapier that are like, 50 steps, 100 steps, but Make.com, I have definitely beat that. I have things in there, like the max steps that you can add into any automation in Zapier is 100. I have Make.com automations that have 500 to 600 steps in them that are just super, super complicated automations. Now, with 10,000 tasks, you can run that up pretty easily. We are about 4 days into the month right now, and I've already used up around 1,000 or 1,500 tasks, and I'm not that far into the month. So I'm probably gonna have to upgrade my Zapier plan this month just because it uses a lot of tasks on a lot of things. Now, each of these things, like this automation that's 29 steps, it's gonna use 29 credits here. Same on Make.com, but it's built a little bit differently. Now, Make.com, again, if you're sick and tired of Zapier just constantly raising the price on you, Make.com is going to be the place to go. Make.com interface is a lot better. You're able to kind of see this in a much more sophisticated way, but it's also a little bit harder to build, right? So when we're building in here, the variables and that kind of stuff are a little bit more complicated to use. But one feature that I really like in here is the router. Now you can do this in Zapier by basically splitting out the routes, right? You can just do like paths by Zapier, but again, this counts as a step. Right now, this is 32 steps in this automation, right? So if I build this out, it's, I can set up the similar things, but it's just not as clean as in Make.com. And so that's why I really like Make better in that side. One thing I will say is Zapier is much easier to use in that the interfaces are much cleaner, right? If I go in here and use like say copy file, for instance, I just connect a Google account, I can basically just log everything in automatically. Super, super streamlined and easy to use in Zapier versus Make.com is a little bit harder to understand. However, Make.com's automations can be much more sophisticated. Here's an example of a very, very simple automation that I built that looks complicated, but if you know what you're doing, it's not really. Make.com, the use of routers is very, very easy. And also it's just cleaner look in my opinion as well. The visuals are just much more aesthetically pleasing. Not that anybody's really gonna see it, but it's more of like a flow chart than it is just like a linear chart. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is the APIs in both, right? Make has an API and Zapier has an API where we can just throw webhooks at it. We can throw different pieces at it as well, like an HTTP request in Make. We can send out, API requests in Zapier as well. However, Make.com has more apps, right? If we just look at like Slack, for example, let's just create a new Slack module here. And let's just look at all the different tasks that we have here. We have a lot of different things here that we don't necessarily have in Zapier. Right, so we go back to Zapier and create another Slack module here. We can just hit Slack, boom, add an event, add a reminder. So here's all like the action events. Like there's still a lot, but there's just not the same events here as we can do over in Make. Now with Make, one of the big things that I like is that we can obviously, and this is the same in any platform, we can do API calls, but one of the big things that I like in Make is that it just has way more apps. Right, look at all these apps that it has. So it has over 1,000 apps. Pretty much every app that you have in here or that you would ever want to use is in here. And if it's not, very, very simply, we can go in here and use a webhook, right? So we can do like webhooks. Obviously this one, since there's there's already a trigger on it, it's not going to give me another trigger. But as far as like a webhook response, we can do that in here. We can also do HTTP requests that we can't necessarily do as easily in Zapier. There's a lot of different features that Make has that Zapier doesn't have. So in conclusion, I really like Make.com better, but it's much harder to understand. If you're just a beginner in all of this and you're just learning to automate and streamline your business, go with Zapier. But from a long-term scale perspective, Make is going to be so much better because you're not going to have to pay as much. It's a lot more cost effective, and it's just much more effective when it comes to actually using APIs and making things work, right? So that's why I like Make.com better. Let me know your opinion down in the comments. And if you want me to build out all your Make.com automations for you so you don't even have to touch it, go ahead and book in a call down at the calendar below and I'll be happy to help you out. But other than that, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully you got some value from it. And yeah, leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought and subscribe to the channel. We have literally daily videos coming out. So there's no reason not to. It doesn't cost you anything. But yeah, I really appreciate it. Hope you have a wonderful rest of your day and peace.